Welcome back to Riding Bikes in San Diego. We are on Lake Murray, and this is the intersection at Baltimore, which is pretty busy. So, we're stopped at the red light, but then we go. I have a love-hate relationship with Lake Murray and its paint, which is not protection. Usually it's pretty quiet, and I'm glad that the painted bike lane is here. But often there are people who are parked in it, especially in the little stretch we're going to come up on because there is some kind of daycare center, and I happen to commute at a time when people are often doing their pickups of children. So it's a drag. But today, there's not somebody picking up a kid. Today, there's just a trash truck. And I'm thinking about how I'm going to get around. You see it, right? It's out there. But this driver sees it too, so I can't get around, and they're not going around. So I'm just going to hop up on the sidewalk here, and those who watch the channel know that I really don't like riding on the sidewalk. But the nice thing about having a bicycle is that it's easier to avoid hazards, and I can get up on the sidewalk for a minute. And then I don't mind dipping right back in because I know that trash truck is going to stop for those other cans that I just went by. This is not a condemnation of the driver of the trash truck. This is a condemnation of a larger system that we have in our society where we create these shared spaces. And I say that as I go by the bus stop because the bike lane doubles as a bus stop. Just like the bike lane doubles as a turning lane, just like it doubles as a place for the trash cans to be, just like it doubles for a place for drivers to put their car when they have a phone call, or when their car isn't working right, or when the police feel like they have to pull somebody over. It's the bike lane that is all these other spaces also. And some people will park here and they'll say like, well, there's no red curb. Or they just put on their hazard lights, their flashers, and are like, well, whatever, as long as my lights are on, I can be wherever I want. And that's just absurd. So, this is one of those videos that's, nothing major happens. That was not a big conflict back there. But just a reminder that every day you get on a bike, even if you're riding on roads with a bike lane, things can be in the way to interrupt that. And someone might be watching this and thinking like, oh, what's the big deal? You had to go up on the sidewalk. I'll bet you that driver who had to stop for the trash truck is way more annoyed about this than I am. I've come to accept the fact that the infrastructure and the design of our cities, even when it hints that it's for bikes, is actually not for bicycles. But drivers, don't like to be inconvenienced at all. They don't like to be stopped at all. So, it's something I think about. And once again, it's easier for me to get around. I wish I didn't have to. I wish I could just keep going and have the space that should be there dedicated for me. But a bike lane is never just a bike lane. It's always going to have some other uses. And I'll hang out with you just a little bit on here because, as you might have noticed while I was talking there, the bike lane just dissolves because now we're approaching the 8. And we're going to cross the 8, and we do that in this main travel lane here. And the fun thing about this is that sometimes I have drivers behind me who are annoyed because they're behind a bicycle, and they're behind a bicycle because there's no bike lane. But one thing you got to know about this traffic light timing is that if you were at the red light before the 8, you're going to be at the red light after the 8 for at least a moment. So, all the drivers who were behind me getting annoyed, they're still behind me now as I'm going over this intersection at Alvarado. And now we're on 70th. We start heading up the hill, and from here we're going to drive less and ride a bike. Thanks so much.